After the Holocaust, the world swore, never again. But what if those lessons are being forgotten in real time? Today, Gaza burns. Entire families have been erased. Whole neighborhoods have been evaporated. The Holocaust didn't begin with gas chambers. It began with words, with fear, starvation, silence. Now we see those very same signs again. From Berlin to Beit Hanun, from Warsaw to Khan Yunis, the echoes of history are undeniable to those with a conscience. So we ask, what have we learned from history? In Nazi Germany, Jews were portrayed as vermin and parasites. The Sturmers cartoons drew them as rats contaminating the nation. In 2023, Israel's defense minister called Gazans human animals. On Israeli social media, Palestinians are regularly mocked and their plight is made fun of. Even children are not spared. Palestinian youth are viewed as terrorists in the making, denied innocence, denied humanity. When people are no longer people, their death becomes not a tragedy, but a tactic. And that is what's happened to Gaza. Joseph Goebbels' Ministry of Propaganda ensured Jews were seen as enemies. Kristallnacht, the night of broken glass, was sold as patriotism and dissent was crushed violently. Today, Israel runs the global Hasbara. Talking points are pushed. Al Jazeera's Gaza office is bombed. Palestinian reporter Shireen Abu Akleh is shot in the head, dead by an Israeli soldier. And the world moves on. Meta censors Palestinian content. Journalists in Gaza are killed at unprecedented rates, over 100 in a single year. Gaza is framed not as the home of 2 million people, but as a terror zone. Bombing becomes surgical, and civilians become collateral. Words become weapons, and the truth is buried, just as it was in the 1930s.
Now, if we had a starvation policy, no one in Gaza would have survived after 2 years of war.
After World War I, Nazis fueled German fears on a national level. Jews were scapegoated for loss and chaos. Hitler promised pride and nationalism soared. In Israel, Palestinians are cast as a deeply existential threat. Zionist schools erase their history with impunity, creating a new one, emphasizing fear of Palestinians. Ultra-nationalist politicians invoke biblical conquests, and settler violence is excused in the name of divine entitlement. In October 2023, Israelis gathered near Gaza to cheer as bombs fell. On social media, many celebrated the devastation, and they've done so ever since. When unchecked, this fear leads to numbness, and numbness enables cruelty, exactly the sort of cruelty that leads to genocide.
No, maybe I killed a girl, she was 12, but I'm looking for a baby.
The Warsaw ghettos trapped 400,000 Jews in one of the greatest tragedies of history. Food was rationed and disease spread. No one could escape. Gaza, just 365 kilometers, cages over 2 million people. Israel's blockade since 2007 controls every entry and exit. In 2008, Israel calculated the minimum calories needed to avoid malnutrition, just enough to survive, not thrive, and that was before the genocide. During the 2024 siege, aid convoys were bombed, water supplies collapsed, humanitarian corridors became killing zones, and today we have wars, pitiful rations, absolute isolation. The parallels to the Holocaust are eerie and undeniable. The Holocaust industrialized death. Mass shootings gave way to trains, camps, and eventually gas chambers, which took organized death to the next level. In Gaza, AI tools like Lavender and Gospel generate bombing targets. Civilians are labeled threats with one click and eliminated. Residential towers, hospitals, schools are struck with intent. The logic? Target everyone, and later say it was a mistake. In June 2024, A raid in Nusayrat killed 274 Palestinians, collateral for 4 hostages. Murder becomes method at scale, just as it did in Germany and its occupied territories. In 1938, 32 nations at Evian refused to take in Jews. Later, they knew of Auschwitz, and still they waited. Today, Gaza suffers in 4K live streams. The leaders of the supposed free world send bombs, not blankets. Germany, the UK, the US, Australia all claim to remember the Holocaust, and yet they arm a state bombing refugee camps. The irony couldn't be more devastating. The UN calls for peace, the US vetoes. The world watches the ultimate charade. The silence is deafening. Genocide doesn't happen overnight. It builds, word by word, war by war, and that is what we've seen happen in real time in Gaza. Fear, silence, propaganda, boycotts. History is not just a record, but a warning. And while we've seen it happen before, no lessons have been learned. To remember the Holocaust would be to prevent its repetition. We said never again.
So what have we learnt from history?
What have we learned from history?
What have we learnt from history?
What have we learned from history?
What have we learned from history?